So I'm going to bring up our final storyteller for the night. He is the creator and host of this storytelling show called Long Story Long, and he has written for the New York Times. I am so excited to have him here. Please give a very warm welcome to Eli Reiter.
I have a mortal fear of drugs and people. When I was 22 or 23, overnight I lost my hearing in my right ear, and I can still hear in like one-on-one situations, but in large groups in New York City I can't hear, and it's always hurt me because like I like feeling connected to people around me, and that just like both being the feeling of disconnect and the feeling of connect causes me great anxiety. I am Jewish, shocker. So one time, in a late summer night, I was in New Jersey at my very, very, very Orthodox Jewish cousin's bar mitzvah, and they're terrible. The men and women are separate. The whole ceremony is long, and I hate all my cousins. It's okay because I can, like, this might go to YouTube, but they don't believe in internet, so I'm safe. So I'm there and I'm feeling fundamentally disconnected with my cousins because, like, although we're biologically related, I'm nothing like them. I'm politically liberal. I got a college education. I have no problem seeing pictures of women in magazines. I have an internet connection in my pocket. And I'm in a place of sin right after Rosh Hashanah. So, Zima. So I do the only thing I can do that's socially acceptable in that place. I get shit-faced. And at midnight, I get in the back of my parents' car. We drive back to Flatbush, Brooklyn, the place that Scott mentioned earlier. And I have an idea in my head. Because I'm feeling so disconnected from the people around me, where can I go that's the complete polar opposite of my ultra-Orthodox Jewish cousins? And like a voice from God, the idea pops into my head. Go to Burning Man. So I go to Google and I'm like, when is Burning Man? It started that week. And I Google, where is Burning Man? "18 hours later, I arrive in Reno, Nevada. That's not the response I got from my parents. I called my mother from San Francisco on the layover, and I'm like, I'm going camping in the desert. And she's like, where? And I'm like, somewhere in Nevada. And she's like, what's that? And I'm like, don't worry, it's a state. So I land in Reno. I hitchhike a ride to Black Rock City, which is a temporary city that Burning Man goes. And I don't know anything about Burning Man. I know two things about Burning Man: art and burning art. And we stop at Walmart on the way so I can buy kosher food. And I buy the only thing that can kosher and lasts in the hot desert, which is cucumbers and tuna fish. True story. So on the ride, this woman who's driving me, who I met through a Facebook group, tells me that like all her drug adventures, and like she's like a foodie but for drugs. And we're driving past this empty desert. It's a 3-hour drive, and I want to get out because I'm adventurous, but I'm not free-spirited. I've taken advantage of many liberal return policies. It's why I'm banned at Nordstrom's. And this woman who's driving me asks me if I like EDM. And I'm like, what's EDM? And she laughs and says, you'll find out soon enough. So we get there, and we're at the gate, and these 3 naked men with like pierced everything, hug me, which doesn't really help my sense of alienation. And they ask me if it's my first time, and I say yes. So they give me a piece of rebar and make me hit a bell and yell, "I'm no longer a virgin," which is technically not true. And we sort of like, I have to rub it in playa dust, and my driver takes me to my camp. So my friend's boyfriend has a camp there, and I messaged him on Facebook the night before saying, "Can I camp with you guys?" And luckily he responds to Facebook messages at Burning Man. I didn't know they have service there, but he has some sort of Wi-Fi thing with his RV, and he asks his campmates, and I say, "Yes, you can camp here." And I get to CN 330, which is the corner, and I'm sorry, children, but the camp is called Camp Zero Fucks, which is more fucks than which is fewer fucks than I would have given. And I meet the head of the camp, Souffle, his name is. That's Souffle. And my friend's not there, but he's like, "Hey, are you the rabbi?" No, but I guess at Burning Man, I'm the rabbi. And he finds me a place to pitch my tent, if you know what I mean. He's like, "You can have it near the orgy tent or the meth heads." I'm still not sure if he was joking or serious. I pitch my tent, my friend meets me. He's like, "Remember this acronym, HALT. Hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. If you're any of these 4 things, check in with yourself." And I think, that's me always. I spent the next 5 days wandering alone because I'm just not ready for Burning Man, and all the years in yeshiva I've spent about Israelites in the desert did not prepare me. I meet these old people one morning, and they offer me breakfast, which is bacon, and like, first of all, at Burning Man, bacon's everywhere. Everyone eats bacon all the time. And they're like, "We're a morsum." And I'm like, "What's a morsum?" And they're like, "It's like a threesome, but more." Old people have fun too. I lose my kippah twice, but I brought backups because I come prepared. I'm a Boy Scout. Kippah's a head cover, you know? Whatever. But it's nothing. And I'm having a terrible time through the whole week because I feel like I'm crashing a party of 70,000 and I wasn't invited. Now, come Friday, and there's a record sandstorm, and my tent gets blown over. But I discovered only at Friday night when Sabbath starts, and you can't build a tent on Sabbath. That's like in the Old Testament, guys. You literally can't build a tent on the Sabbath. And friends, I'm a fan of God's earlier works. So I get back to my tent Friday night after trying to meet with Jews for this. They have this weird Burning Man service. Some kid gets a burn mitzvah, which like terribly emotional scars. Not gonna talk about that. And my camps collapsed, and I climb into, and no one's around because they're out partying. Like, these are people who spent more on drugs for a week than I make in a year. And I climb into the orgy tent to take a nap. Now, it works. No one bothers me. The next day, it's Sabbath, so I can't. So there are many prohibitions in Sabbath. You can't carry things in your pockets. You can't hold electricity. So I can't go very far because I can't carry water with me, and I don't want to walk far with water, and it's very warm. So I'm sort of I'm like tethered to the camp. Although, like, everyone there is very nice because the people in camp are so enthralled by someone like me that they keep coming to me every 20 minutes, bringing me drinks, offering me food. It's extremely nice. Like, it's being around a camp full of Shabbos Goyim. It's the only crowd that this line can work at. So I'm bored, and it's anticlimactic because all the camps around us are wrapping up, and I know that I can't leave without doing something special. So I go back to the camp leader, Souffle, and I'm like, Souffle. I'm like, Souffle, I think I'm ready. He's like, for what? I'm like, I think I'm ready to have drugs. I don't know what to ask for, so I just say drugs. And he's like, come back to me in an hour. And I see him walk off to meet with his consultant, like his assistant doctor, DJ Space Camp. And I meet with him an hour later, and they're like, come with me. And I follow Souffle into his RV, and I sit between him and DJ Space Camp. And I feel like I just met the Oracle. Like he's about to answer all my questions. And Souffle reaches into a cabinet on the top shelf and takes out a little Altoids tin. And he opens the tin, and there's white powder. And he instructs me to lick my pinky and dip it into the white powder and lick my pinky again. And I'm like, but will this give me like a hangover, or will this give me a bad trip? And DJ Space Camp, the medical professional that he is, says, not to worry, I'm fine. So I do it. And it tingles a little bit. It's like pop rock fizz things. And a few minutes later, we start walking to the center of camp because it's Saturday night and we have to watch the man burn. And part of the problem with my trip there is that I've been so uptight. I've been afraid to make jokes because it's a very earnest crowd. Like my crowd is like, they're all hardcore partiers. I don't know if they can handle New York sarcasm. So we're walking to the center of camp, and I feel a little bit of a warm fuzz, but everything is fine for now. We get to the center of camp, we sit down, and there's a big man on fire in the middle. And I'm feeling slightly more connected to the people around me. I feel like my palm is sweating, and the sweat of my palm is going up to the stars in the sky. And I feel just connected to the people around me. And I yelled, and we're waiting for an hour for the structure to burn down. Everyone is yelling at it for it to collapse already. So I yell out, and I make my first joke of my time there. I say, if your man lasts longer than 4 hours, call your doctor. And Souffle turns to me, he's like, Ellie, you're a pretty funny motherfucker. I'm glad that I've graduated from rabbi to funny motherfucker. Sorry. I teach in the yeshiva. This video will probably get me fired. So the man finally collapses, and we dance for the rest of the evening, and I feel more and more connected to the people around me. And I'm up all night dancing. And then the morning of, we start collapsing our camp because the festival is over. And we're saying our goodbyes, and Souffle pulls me aside. He's like, Ellie, you're really smart. Don't do drugs. These guys, they're stupid. They do drugs. Don't do drugs. I think I'm the only person who ended Burning Man with an anti-drugs PSA. But he's right, because I still don't know what I took, because he didn't want to tell me what I took, because he was afraid I would take more of it. So I have no idea what I took still. If you can help me out, please come to me later. But the truth is, I still haven't taken drugs again, because I know that, the drug didn't really make me feel differently than I actually am and the wiring of my brain actually is. And sometimes when I'm feeling lonely or I can't hear someone, I still look up at the stars and I think, I have the capacity to feel connected to the people around me. And that I have with me whether or not I have pharmacological substances. Thanks.
Yum's the